You are listening to the Andrew and Troy Show.
Andrew, let's find out the week of LGBTI news with the editor of Star Observer, Elias Jahshan. Elias, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Good,
doing
thanks.
Doing
Yes.
well. Now, Elias, what's been happening this week?
Probably the two biggest news to come out this week. One is that our Foreign Minister and Deputy Liberal Leader Julie Bishop has publicly expressed her support for marriage equality. She was having an interview on the Project TV on Channel 10 on Monday night, and there was discussion about marriage equality in the plebiscite. And somebody asked her, one of the panelists asked her, "Oh, what did she think of it?" And she goes, "Well, I see no problem with it." So it's probably the first time Julie Bishop has made it clear that she supports marriage equality. But she did say that she supports the plebiscite.
Yeah, she'll toe party line.
Which is another topic that everybody's been talking about relentlessly for the past few weeks.
Yeah.
The other big news is Kate McGregor, the highest-ranking trans military official in Australia and in the world, won Queenslander of the Year, and because of that, she's in the running to become. She's one of the finalists for Australian of the Year. Which will be announced Australia Day next year.
Go, Kate McGregor!
Yeah.
I love her. Now, just back to Julie Bishop. This is great news. So, top position, guy in the top position, PM supports say marriage equality.
Yep.
Or just marriage between two consenting adults,
Yes.
as I like to call it. The number two.
Yes, the top two people. in
Powerful
Australia.
people in Australia
It's
support.
probably the first. I think it's the first time in Australian history where the Prime Minister and the opposition leader and the deputy leaders of both parties have expressed support for marriage equality.
Yeah.
That's a massive deal. And you know what, Julie Bishop should be congratulated for finally coming forward and making her stance for marriage equality quite clear.
Yeah.
But it is fair to ask, and it's fair to criticise her for not expressing her support beforehand when there was debate on bringing the free vote into the coalition.
Was she asked, though, in the past?
When she had a chance to make it clear, make her stance clear publicly. All good to congratulate her, and we should be congratulating people who do come forward and express their views publicly, no matter when they do it. But it is also fair to criticise them and question them for why they didn't do it previously.
Oh, well, we all know why. It's because she was under Abbott and towing the party line.
Doesn't excuse it.
Yeah. Well, no, that's true. But I'm sure she's always supported it, but just choosing the right time to express that.
But I'm a firm believer. If you've been elected to lead in a leadership position, you should be leading by example, not playing the political game. But that's just me and my idealistic views on what leadership should be. So
That's true.
So yeah.
Although, again, we could argue they're there to represent their people and the people they represent's opinions, not their own.
Like I've said this before, this marriage equality is just amending 6 words in the Marriage Act.
Yeah, look,
and it's a simple, basic human right. Human rights shouldn't be used as a political football. It should be just something that's done without needing to worry about what your constituents say. If many Western Sydney MPs who come from what people perceive to be religiously conservative areas of Western Sydney have come forward to support marriage equality, and if some of those MPs come from marginal areas, such as Julie Owens, who's the MP for Parramatta, and that's a very marginal seat. She's come forward to support marriage equality. If she is not worried that she's going to lose votes in this, then there's absolutely no reason why Julie Bishop should have been worried that she was going to lose seats from her very safe Liberal seat out in Western Australia.
Good point. And let's just call a spade a spade. We didn't need a plebiscite or have to go through so much rigmarole when John Howard changed the Marriage Act, a decade or so ago.
Yeah.
He just did it to be homophobic and exclude gay people, because just in case he had a little bit of foresight for bigotry back then. Now, also the Australian version of the Emmys, the AACTAs is happening, and it's got a huge gay Situate, or there's a lot of gay movies and TV shows up for nomination.
Yeah. Holding a Man, the film adaptation of that, the classic memoir by Timothy Congreve, has been nominated for 6 actors. And yeah, that includes Best Director, Best Film, and Best Lead Actor for Ryan Cole, and Best Supporting Actor for Anthony LaPaglia.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. I think, from what I believe, Holding the Man has the most number of nominations in the actors.
Yeah.
And there's also a documentary that was on ABC called, what was it called? Between a Flock and a Hard Place.
That's got a few nominations.
Yeah. It looks at that documentary looks at the history of Australia's gay liberation movement and intertwines it with the 21st or 25th anniversary of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the other TV telly movie that is doing well is The Boy Next Door.
Yes.
The movie about Peter Allen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which was great.
Yeah.
So a lot of gay contenders.
It is a great movie.
Now, before we wrap things up, something that just popped up in the news feeds in the last day or two is the website, the online website Mumbrella, causing a little bit of a stir, questioning whether or not SBS should be launching a competitor to, and I'll read their headline, should SBS be launching a competitor to existing cash-strapped gay press? Wow.
Well, you know what? That piece that was published in Mumbrella was an opinion piece. The author, Nick Christensen, was perfectly entitled to his views, and he did present some very compelling arguments.
Yeah.
I don't agree with everything he said. I've made myself very clear that I do welcome a new competitor into the gay media landscape.
Yeah.
We do need more variety. We shouldn't be concentrated on one particular media voice. And having more competitors is great because it prevents everybody in the gay media from being complacent and taking it for granted that we're the only one.
That's right. A little bit more diversity in our diverse culture.
I beg your pardon?
A little bit more diversity in our diverse culture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you know what? SBS launching their platform on LGBTI news and stuff. It's very different to what all the other gay media outlets are doing already. I think that's my personal objection to that article, is that it doesn't really explain the differences in all the products. Yes, we all cater to an LGBTI audience, and we all specialize in LGBTI news, but each and every one of our products are very different. So the Star Observer has the monthly magazine plus an online website, and we're the only one in Australia that is printed nationally in print and has an online website. Under the single masthead. And then you look at SX, they have a weekly newspaper in Sydney, and they have an umbrella website called Gay News Network, which incorporates Melbourne Community Voice and Adelaide Blaze and Queensland Pride. And then look at Stain Fame, which is only a website. Yeah. And their content isn't steered towards the hard news that Star Observer does or what SX does. And then you look at SBS Sexuality and the upcoming Mardi Gras website. From what I understand, and it could evolve, it could become something different. But from what that story says, and what previous stories on SBS launching into this area has said previously, excuse me for repeating myself, is that there will be repurposing and aggregating content, LGBTI themed content from across the SBS network onto this dedicated Mardi Gras /sexuality website, and there'll be a lot of opinion pieces and commissioned freelance articles and stuff like that.
So very different to what everyone else is doing.
So basically, my point is, each and every one of our products are very different. Yeah. And also look at you guys. Got OX Gold. Your radio is very different to what we guys do, what we all do. So that's just my personal objection to that to the news going around. They seem to lump us into one homogenous style of product, but the reality
there's
is
no homogenous in our scene, just homo-ogenous. See right there? Comic starlings of one Troy Murphy. We're here a week. Try the veal.
Yeah.
Elias, thanks so much for chatting LGBTI news with us. Of course, starobserver.com.au for your daily LGBTI news, and the monthly magazine, which I think is coming out in 2 weeks' time? Less than that?
It was coming out on the 19th.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Elias, and we'll chat to you next week.
All right, thanks for having me on, guys.